Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube, D546? This is going to be pretty much a wrap-up video of the draft. My final thoughts on the totality of the draft. Everything under the sun. I got some stats, but let's get into it. I'm not going to waste much time. Starting off was the pick that we all expected to happen, you know, for the last like month and a half, 2 months now, since we pretty much figured out that Cam Ward was not going to be traded up for. We figured out that the NFL was very low on Shedeur Sanders, and it was going to be either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. And Travis Hunter was pretty much talked about as the best player in the draft. A lot of people liked him the most. So it was a pretty easy decision for the Browns to trade that away to get that haul. And the Jaguars ended up just jumping right in front of us to take Travis Hunter. Now, I think that the Giants probably wanted Abdul Carter over Travis Hunter anyway. But nonetheless, we knew this was coming. And it happened. Wasn't really surprising. Now, Abdul Carter out of Penn State, 6'3", almost 6'4", 250 pounds. That's his official listed weight and height right now. His RAS score is 9.72 out of 10. So that is a pretty good RAS score. I mean, not much you can improve on there. You know, maybe he should have ran faster, but I don't even think he ran a 40. If he did run a 40, I think they used that in his actual RAS score. That puts him towards the top of all athletic players. Now, pass rush productivity for him. This guy had a 22% pass rush win rate. I always struggle saying that. He had a 22% pass rush win rate. So he almost a quarter of the time he was in the quarterback's face. So Abdul Carter is an absolute monster. He's going to be lining up next to Dexter Lawrence. He's going to be lining up next to our rookie, Alexander. And I think he's going to wreak a lot of havoc. He's going to be in that rotation with Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. And just the fact that all of these guys are going to be able to be that much fresher. Always think back to JPP and Olivier Vernon, where they were two effective players on the edge, but they were always tired because they were playing every single snap. That's kind of what we were facing with Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. And they were kind of getting some time off, but the guys behind them just weren't really providing much besides Aziz, who was always hurt. And now we're going to have, I was going to say Lorenzo Carter. Here we go. Abdul Carter. Now we have Abdul Carter, and I think he's going to be a game changer for us. I think he's going to be a game changer for us, and he's the first step in this draft that I think to make us possibly the best defensive line in football. Now, obviously, beyond that, he played linebacker the last couple of years before that, so if you ever need him to slide in and play linebacker, you know, because there may be, you know, a knock on wood, there may be an issue with linebacker where you need to put somebody in. Guess what? Abdul Carter can step up in there. He can play linebacker for you. He can be that blitzer for you. So he's very versatile. He can do that. He can also cover people. So when you line this guy up in the A gap, he can be blitzing. He can drop back into coverage. You never know. And when he drops into coverage, he is not a liability. So this is very exciting. And I think, you know, his bend around the corner is incredible. His bend around the corner is unlike anything I've seen besides guys like Von Miller. Honestly, his bend around the corner is ridiculous. And one more stat for you before I move on. And I'm going to try to get through these players quickly. One more stat for you before I move on. He has 1.3 tackles for loss per game. So basically a sack or a tackle for loss in the run every single game. He's getting over once a game. He's getting that. So I'll leave you with that. And that's that on Abdul Carter. So, you know, then we're hearing rumors about the Giants possibly moving up into the first round to take Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, or Shedeur Sanders. And it's mostly connected to Jackson Dart, but we're not sure, you know, what's smoke, what's not smoke. And lo and behold, the Giants are trying to trade up at pick 17. They're trying to trade up at pick 18. They're trying to trade up at pick 19 and so on, all the way up to pick 25, where we finally were able to work out a deal. And I know Shane did not want to give up that 65th overall pick. And luckily he didn't because of what we got. But he did not want to give up that 65th overall pick. And because of that, you know, those teams just didn't want to move back. And he finally found a team that was willing to take that 99th overall pick. And we ended up making that trade. And Jackson Dart, the next guy who has a chance to be the franchise quarterback for the Giants. Now, For me, Jackson Dart is not a guy that I would say like I'm really, really excited about coming into this draft. I wouldn't say that I was saying he was a slam dunk franchise quarterback, but a guy that Brian Dable believes in to trade a third round this year and a third round next year and to swap picks, I think that's a no-brainer. I think that's a no-brainer to just swap picks and trade 2 third rounders to get a guy who Dable thinks can be a franchise quarterback, and he's going to sit behind Russ at least for a year and Jameis at least for a year, or at least 10 to 12 games depending on how the season goes. This is a great move. It's a great move, and I like the move because it's low risk, very, very, very high reward because he's got a bunch of tools. This guy is used to throwing the deep ball. This is what we've missed. He can throw those deep crosses with the best of them. Now, he does have some deep ball accuracy just in general, where sometimes the ball just isn't where you want it to be. So he's got to clean that up. He's got some stuff with his feet he needs to clean up. And what I really like about him, though, about his actual game is he's athletic. He can take off and run. He's physical. I don't want him trying to run over linebackers like he was in college, but he is a physical runner. And then on top of that, the release from Jackson Dart is lightning quick. It's lightning quick. It's like he's throwing an actual dart. He just gets rid of it so quick. And that was one of my bigger issues with Daniel Jones is even when Daniel Jones was on, there was always a limitation of like, if Daniel Jones is running out of the pocket and there's a guy closing in on him, he struggled to throw the ball away. He struggled to get the ball to the line of scrimmage and throw it away. And that led to some bad interceptions because he was trying to throw the ball away, but he couldn't get out of bounds. That won't be a problem with Jackson Dart. He can get rid of it very quickly and he can throw it he can throw it with a lot of velocity. So that makes me excited about Dart. Let's look at his big time throw rate. 7.1% in 2024. That's top 10 among all FBS quarterbacks. So the guy is making high difficulty throws. I know a lot of people say he plays in a spread offense. He's just trying to find a single coverage. If you look at the tape, he's making NFL throws. He's throwing over linebackers, throwing over safeties, throwing over dropping corners. He is throwing in the tight windows. Now, did he always do it? No, but top 10, I mean, that speaks for itself. On passes 20 plus yards downfield, he completed 48%, almost 50%, almost half the time he targeted downfield. He completed it. He had some good receivers at Ole Miss, but I wouldn't say he had a generational type receiver like Travis Hunter, like Malik Neighbors. He didn't have that type of a receiver playing for him, and he was really, really effective throwing downfield. And I expect Brian Dable to use the RPO because pretty much like almost every time you see Jackson Dart dropping back, it's an RPO or it's a play action or it's a screen. And that's just how Lane Kiffin ran his offense there. But I just really think that we're going to incorporate a lot of that, at least early when Jackson Dart ends up playing. And I have no problem with that. We did that with Daniel Jones, a 5-6 year vet. So why not do it with our first or second year quarterback? So overall, I'm optimistic about Jackson Dart. He has all the tools. He's not Lamar Jackson fast. He's not Josh Allen with as far as arm strength, but he's very calm under pressure. And when I say pressure, I mean literally guys collapsing in on him. He's able to step up into the right places in the pocket. He's just got to clean up, some fundamentals, some footwork, some things like that. And, just play a little bit smarter. Sometimes he does some dumb things like that end of the game at Florida. He choked the game away by just throwing it up for grabs 3 times and throwing 3 interceptions. So he's got to clean that up. But excited for a guy with a little bit more fire than the last 2 quarterbacks we've had. And hopefully he can be the next guy, the heir apparent to Eli Manning. And maybe people can stop, hating us taking any guy that has any relationship to the Manning family. Because the next guy is Arch Manning. You guys want to take him. So that's the funny part. People don't want to take a guy related to Eli because they're saying we keep doing the same thing, but they want to wait for Arch Manning. And that guy's actually related to Eli. Nonetheless, that's Jackson Dart. That's my take on it. I'm excited about that pick. Again, not a slam dunk that he's going to be a franchise player for us, but I really like how we ended up getting him. Low risk, very high reward. Round 3, my favorite pick. One of my favorite picks of this. Every pick just was so amazing for me. But one of my favorite picks of this draft, Darius Alexander out of Toledo. And Darius Alexander is a guy who's an older player. He's like 25 years old already. So, at the end of his rookie contract, he's going to end up being 28, 29 because I think he's 24, almost 25. So, that's something to consider. But nonetheless, I mean, round 3, getting a guy that's 300 and what? Let me get the actual number down. He's 305 pounds, 6'3" and 7/8, so almost 6'4". Really freakishly long arms for his frame, and a really effective, quick pass rusher and quick, very strong at the point of attack in the run game. He can almost two gap for you. He can penetrate into the backfield. He can do the same thing in the pass game. He is an explosive defensive lineman and the perfect defensive lineman to put next to Dexter Lawrence. And I cannot wait to see him out there. I'm not sure if he's going to be a guy that takes snaps away from guys like Roy Robertson Harris, and Ledbetter is going to be out there at nose tackle behind Dex. So I'm not sure, if he'll end up starting off the bat, but he has a really nice role carved out for him on this team, at least on third downs to start. Maybe he comes in, on those third downs. Now, looking at run stops for him, he had 26 tackles at or behind the line of scrimmage since 2023. So that's double digits per year. He's a guy that is just constantly getting upfield and wreaking havoc. Won 18% of his double teams, and that's in the top 20% of the defensive linemen in the draft class. So not elite first round type of guy, but a guy that's definitely winning double teams on a decent amount, and a guy that will never ever face a double team on the Giants. He's not going to face a double team here. He's not going to. Darius Alexander is the last guy they're thinking about. You got Carter out there. You got Burns. You got Dex. You even got Thibodeau. They are not going to be double teaming Darius Alexander. So excited he's here. He is older, but I don't care. If he gives us 4 or 5 years and 4 of those years are great, I don't care. A guy can play into his 30s at defensive line anyway. So again, one of my favorite picks of this draft. I think that he is going to be a quick contributor and a guy that's going to be in the backfield a lot, getting those singles. Now we got round 4. This is a pick I was kind of upset about because I was like, maybe we won't be able to get Marcus Bowe now. But we did get him the next round. So I'll talk about that for my next pick. But Cam Scatabo, the bowling ball, a guy who I was like completely I was tripping. Like, I don't know what was going on with me. Like, I was sitting here saying, like, Cam Scatabo, I don't know, because he's like 5'8" and about 200 pounds. And I had his height and weight wrong for some reason. If his height and weight is anywhere correct, they have him at 5'9", a little bit over 5'9", and 219. So 219 is good in my book. If you're 219, you can run physically, and that's what he does. He runs physically. He runs physically. Every play, he runs it like it's his last, almost like an Ahmad Bradshaw type of player, except he's probably a little bit bigger, wider, can run through people, and surprisingly, a good receiving back. People usually don't look at these power backs like good receivers, but he has soft hands. I mean, when he catches the ball, he doesn't slow down. He just kind of like finds his hands and he just keeps moving. So I'm excited for that. He can be that short yardage back. He can be the receiving back. And he's the perfect complement to Tyrone Tracy, who, by the way, got drafted a round after him. So it's not completely guaranteed that Tyrone Tracy is going to get the bulk of the carries. Cam Scatabo could come in and snatch some of these carries away. So really good player, has really gone into games and almost single-handedly won his team games. And to get him in the 4th round is a steal. I was thinking that this guy might go in the end of the 2nd round, 3rd round, and we got him at the top of round 4. He forced 63 missed tackles in 2024, and that puts him 2nd behind Ashton Jeanty. So, I mean, what can I tell you? 3.7 yards after contact. Again, what can I tell you? 3.7 yards. Every time he's getting hit, he's falling forward almost 4 yards in college. So this dude is a monster. I'm excited. Average 2 yards per route run, which is good for a running back. Again, everything I said is backed by the stats. Scatabo is going to be a contributor year one, 100%. He may be the guy that takes away Devin Singletary's snaps share, but you never know. You never know how it'll go, but he will definitely be a contributor in year 1. Then you look at round 5. Marcus Bowe out of Purdue. Let me get the measurables for him. And I said something wrong in my last video, and I'll correct that. But 6'4", 303. So nice height, decent weight. Not the strongest at the point of attack. Marcus Bowe is not really the strongest at the point of attack, but a guy that's very, very athletic. A guy with amazing feet. Decent hands, decent hands. But I think I said he had long arms in my last thing. Looking at it, he has sub 33-inch arms. So he's going to be a guy that's going to be very difficult for him to succeed at tackle. But he has such great feet that he might be able to make it work. Might be able to make it work. Now, his RAS score is 8.77, so not elite, but definitely above average. Definitely an above average athlete. And again, as far as movement, I would say his movement on tape to me is very, very good. Allowed only 1 sack and over 400 pass blocking attempts. 1 sack and 7 pressures this entire past season. So he's a baller in the pass blocking game. Great zone blocker. Great zone blocker. And I think we'll see if he gets on the field this year, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be moving around and taking guys out, laying guys out consistently. I'm excited to see that because he's an impact blocker. He's not always, again, the strongest at the point of attack. Like, if he's getting bullied, he might get pushed back a little bit. In the run game, is he going to, necessarily drive a guy off the line of scrimmage, like, with just full force like that? I'm not sure. But when he's swinging around that corner and he's got a head of steam, look out. Look out, because he can definitely take some people out that way, and he's a very physical player. So excited to see him grow a little bit more into his body. Maybe he can put on like 10 or 15 pounds. But Marcus Bowe was an amazing pick. And the top of round 5, that I was like floored that we got him and Scatabo. I was completely on the floor. Which brings me to my next pick. A guy I didn't know about in round 7. Thomas Fedoni II, tight end out of Nebraska. If you haven't seen my film breakdown of him, go check that out. But Fedoni is a very, very athletic tight end that tore his ACL twice. Still has that athleticism. Really good blocker. A guy that's like, let's say that he's listed at 243, 6'5", 243. So you wouldn't expect him to be an imposing guy at tight end, but really, really good blocker. Always competing, loves to block, fights every single time he's out there, and a really athletic guy that can play receiver. He's a former receiver, so he can go out there and catch, decent after the catch. Can go up and he really has some good ball skills. So a guy that we got in the 7th round that can play tight end for us that maybe makes this roster, and is your 2nd or 3rd tight end. You're going to have Manhurts, you're going to have Bellinger. So if Manhurts makes the team, look at Fedoni to be that 2nd, receiving tight end. So you never know what you'll get out of him. Caught 64% of contested targets. So that's pretty good. Average 2.9 yards, 2.09 yards per route run, showing that, he's more of that possession tight end. But I think he can be a seam stretcher, a seam ripper in the NFL. He has all the tools. He ran like a 4.7 or something. I don't know what he ran, but on tape, he clearly is a separator and a guy that can go up and grab the ball out of the air. So I'll keep my eye on him to see what he does. He's probably going to be a guy that makes noise in training camp and in the preseason, but he probably, we'll see what he does this year. He's got some competition ahead of him. And then our last pick, as I'm winding things down, Corey Black, Oklahoma State, a guy that I definitely knew about coming in. I was surprised we didn't go with Kobe Bryant, who I'm not sure where he signed, but he went undrafted. So I was surprised about that. But Corey Black, let me pull up the measurables on him. 6 feet, 192, prototypical corner size. Maybe if he's 6'1", even more of a prototype, but this is prototypical corner size. 8.61 RAS score, so athleticism and size. Good, good, definitely above average. So that's not going to be a problem for him. He's a guy that should be able to run with most people, should be able to jump with most people. When I look at his tape, though, I have his film breakdown coming pretty soon. But when I look at his tape, I see some problems. A lot of grabbing. But he's an athletic corner. Has problems locating the ball in the air. He should be his own corner. And not because of the athleticism, just because he just really struggles in man coverage to find the ball in the air. And he struggles at the top of breaks, struggles at the tops of these routes. and he's going to need some help. He does a lot of grabbing at the top of the routes. So that kind of concerns me. But guess what? He's a 7th-round pick. 7th-round pick, got good athleticism. Maybe he's just a guy that plays special team for us. Maybe in a couple of years, with some NFL coaching, maybe he's going to step up and be a better player in coverage. But in college, though, he was kind of able to get away with a lot of the holding and get away with a lot of stuff. He allowed just 0.82 yards per coverage snap. So that's really good. Again, he's a guy that's athletic. He's a guy that, for the most part, was in the vicinity of the person he was guarding. So a ton of times they just didn't throw it, but when they threw it, he had problems locating the ball. And also, again, he did a lot of grabbing, and the quarterback's not going to throw it, if the guy's getting grabbed up. So that's Corey Black. Forced incompletions on 19% of targets. So, the ball skills, like I said, I don't think are there, but the stats say that most of the time they throw it to him, or 19% of the time they throw it to him, he's forcing an incompletion. So maybe I just haven't seen enough tape yet. But that's our draft class. Let's just go back over real quick. Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart, Darius Alexander, Cam Scatabo, Marcus Bowe, Thomas Fedoni II, and Corey Black. So I think we really got better on the defensive line. We're among the best. Got a possible quarterback of the future. Running back that can go right beside Tyrone Tracy. That's a great compliment to him. I still wish we had a home run hitter, but it is what it is there. We're just going to have two guys that are going to grind it out. And maybe that'll be good for us. And then a possible future guard, or maybe this year starts a guard in Bowe, but probably a future guard. Maybe a right tackle if he can get the feet, to do his thing in the NFL. And then Thomas Fedoni and Corey Black in the 7th round. So really strong draft. I would give this draft, listen, I have never really graded a draft, I don't think, maybe in years, but I would definitely give this draft an A. I wouldn't give it an A+, just because of the Corey Black pick. If I'm going to give something an A+, it'd have to be perfect. Or maybe an A+ is a 97. So maybe I'll give it an A+. Great job to Joe Schoen. I think he did an amazing job this offseason of filling some gaps in the offseason and the free agency market, and then coming into the draft and just knocking it out of the park, taking the best player on the board every single time. Didn't force the Jackson Dart pick. Came up and got him, later on, but didn't force a quarterback at 3, took Abdul Carter, and it's going to pay dividends for us. I really am a big fan of what Joe Schoen is doing this offseason and most of last offseason. And I don't know what to say. Let's hope that all of this pays off. Let's hope that we're competitive. And stay tuned for the Corey Black film session coming soon.